Here's the fifth installment of my storytelling segment. And I got to tell you, I wasn't never a gifted drummer. Never. I just practiced and practiced and practiced, and even now there's certain things that a gifted drummer can do that I just cannot do, and that's just me. But the way I got started was my friends. I was around music. I wouldn't have never been around music if J.C. Rayner hadn't have moved up the street from me. And he had two stepkids named Steve and Jerome, and they was all around music all the time because J.C. played in clubs all the time. He eventually got his own church and got saved and everything and became a preacher. But before that, they was always into the top 40. Man, we was listening to music. Matter of fact, J.C.'s wife, Carolyn, at the time, took me and several others to the Shower of Stars a couple of times. And we listened to music all the time. We even put together a lip sync band. And we'd get on their front porch and actually would draw a crowd. We would have a record player. And we was into Paul Revere and the Raiders a lot back then. Dun, 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 dun. Well, you see. Well, anyway, we lip synced and everything, and that's the way. And Steve, I didn't know how to play nothing. Didn't know how to play a thing. I knew how to air guitar, but I didn't know how to play nothing. But Steve, one of the stepsons, told me how to get started. He didn't actually teach me. He just told me how I could get started. First off, you got to get a set of drums. I got a set of drums. I had a J.C. Penney's credit card, and I got a set of red sparkly drums, and actually you can see those drums in a couple of those pictures that I got. Well, they came from J.C. Penney's. They was like $350. They was a good set of drums now, don't get me wrong. $350 back in the 70s was probably be about $800-900 drums now, so they was pretty good drums, I'll just say that. So he told me how to get started. He said watch other drummers, see how they set their drums up and everything. I was looking in this other screen here at a car going by. So I did that. In this same room I'm in right now, I put these drums up and had a pair of Pioneer headphones. You couldn't hear nothing but music. I would put them on and play. And I learned how to play really loud because I didn't know what I was doing anyway. I see a bird. Anyway, I drove my mother half crazy. So I eventually got to where I could do, and I struggled with it. Let me tell you something, shuffles and stuff like that, I struggled with. I ain't gonna lie. And even Wipeout. I do some things left-handed. I do some things right-handed. I'm right-handed, but I shoot a gun left-handed. Boom. I shoot a gun left-handed. I keep all my change and billfold in my left pocket, but I'm right-handed. You got that, right? So when I learned how to play Wipeout, Wipeout, I learned how to play it left-handed. And when you come off of the roll and have to get on the cymbal, I couldn't never do it because I wanted to come off on my right hand because I was dominantly right-handed. but I played Wipeout left-handed. And I couldn't figure that out. I said, why can't I come off of that? Because I was doing it backwards. You know, I was doing it like a left-hander. And I had to actually teach myself how to play Wipeout right-handed. I can still play Wipeout left-handed. And I can play it right-handed. Here's left-handed. That's left-handed. Now here's right-handed. So I got a lot better with that. And rolls, I did not know how to come off of doing this and do a roll. Could not do it. I just had to think about what I'm doing, and I would do it real slow. I would go. And then I'd do it a little faster, a little faster. That's the way I taught myself how to play drums. Now, a bunch of us guys, let me set this camera right. A bunch of us guys, there's this lady, we drank a little bit. We wasn't alcoholics, but we drank a little bit. And we got in this lady's house, and all the guys would, and gals would go over there and just hang out and drink a little bit. And she said she would rather us do that at her house than to be out on the road. And that was good of her. That was good of her to let us do that. But Roger Ragsdale, I think he got his first guitar from Sears and Roebuck, if I ain't mistaken. It was a hollow body. I don't know if he had it when we first started, but we would get in that. As a matter of fact, it was her bedroom. And it was just right off of Main Street. Well, it was actually on Main Street in Summerton. I don't know if y'all know who I'm talking about, but Marshall Bussey, he does a bunch of odds and ends. It was actually right across the road from him, that house was. And me and Roger would get back there and just practice. Roger, he sang a little bit, and he played guitar. So we got back there, and we would do 2 or 3 songs. We'd do them an instrumental, and then we'd do them again and sing them. So, and then a guy come in that just still hanging out, and Roger showed him 3 chords on the guitar. And he liked Marshall Tucker and that kind of stuff, so we got a 3-piece now. So we went on break one night, and we went in the living room, and the place was packed out in the living room. And we was like, what are y'all doing here? You know, some of the people we didn't even know. And they said, well, we just knew y'all was practicing. We just come to listen and everything. So, and then one of the guys, I think it was Joe Neil Owens, if I ain't mistaken, wanted us, he said he was having a party Saturday night. Would y'all come and play? And me and Roger said, well, you know, we don't know 4 or 5 songs. That's all we know. And he said, that's okay, come play them at our party. So we did. And we got to play in everybody's parties. We got to play in only private parties. Well, Squeaky was that other guitar player. He knew a guy, and some of them may listen to this now even. His name was, let me think, good grief. He lives down at Empire, down there close to Owens Chapel and all. Not Owens Chapel, but I forget his name, but anyway, Squeaky and him, they drank a lot more than we did, and they done this. That's good stuff. Yeah, they done that. Well, we got to where we was playing other things other than parties. Like somebody would be playing, you remember the old VFW in Summerton? It's like a antique shop or something now. across the road from Taco Bell, you go out that little road, and that used to be a VFW in Summerton. We play in there. Well, Squeaky, you could hear him squeak. He wasn't up to par that night. So Roger had a cousin, Dennis Ragsdale. We got him up and done several songs. Matter of fact, I think he done a set of songs. Well, we hired him on the spot and fired Squeaky. And we got to playing pretty good bit then. Now Dennis, he knew a lot of songs. So now we probably know 15 or 20 songs. And we was going to set in for J.C. Rayner at the Blue 2. J.C. used to go other places like Gunnersville and places like that, and they'd get another band to set in for him while he was gone. Well, that would have been us. We went over there, and about an hour before we were supposed to go on, the bass player, which Squeaky got, he quit too because he was Squeaky's friend. You know what I mean? They was good friends, so he didn't want to play without Squeaky. Boy, I wish I knew his name. I'll think about it tomorrow and tell you. But anyway, he said he wasn't going to play. So I called Mike Allen. Y'all all know Mike Allen. He plays a little everything. Keyboard, lead, bass. I called him. He actually said he was playing somewhere that night. He said, "Have you tried Stan Ballinger?" Now I knew about Stan Ballinger, but I didn't really know him. I just heard of him and everything. So he told me where he lived and everything, and he's been in that same place all his life. I reckon they own all that land right in there, close to the tunnel in Dora. Y'all know old Stan Ballinger. I went down there, went right to his house and asked old Stan, told him our troubles and everything. I said, "Would you want to come and set in?" And man, Stan came up there, and it like he had been playing with us forever. And plus, he knew 2 or 3 songs himself. He would do Polk Salad Annie. He would do Boss Man. He would do Crying Time. You remember Crying Time by Ray Charles? Oh, it's crying time again. You're gonna leave me. He done several songs, Stan Ballinger. So we hired Stan right off. Well, we got to playing other things, no clubs or anything like that. I hadn't ever played any club. And all of a sudden, we get a job at Maxine Tavern. Stayed there probably 3 years as the Crossroads Band. And if you catch me on the street, I'll give you why that band, how it came about. That's what I'm trying to say. If you'll catch me, I ain't gonna do it on here because it's a little bit weird. So if you ever see me out there and want to know how we got our band named, the Crossroads, I will tell you, but not on here. Too many people would get crazy on here, so I can't tell you. But it was the Crossroads Band, and there was another one in Birmingham, and I know one of the Razzmatazz guys was in that band called the Southern Crossroads. And people used to get us mixed up with them all the time. "Oh, I seen y'all play in Birmingham." Yeah, that's us. Of course it wasn't. We hadn't played Birmingham yet. But we played several places. Even Stan became one of my best friends, man. Stan did. And we played together on up into our ages together until he passed away a couple of 2 or 3 years ago. And I still miss him. And I've told y'all 100 times, there's 2 guys, Steve Dawkins, Stan Ballinger. The only ones that came up in my driveway. And it was just about every day. It got to be a little bit less with Stan when he got sick. But I could hear Stan's truck come around. I knew Stan. But Steve would come up in the yard and you couldn't even hear his truck, so he would sneak up on me. But that's what I miss about them two guys right there, is coming up in my house. They was the only two that ever come up in my yard to see me and everything, and they didn't ever stay long. 5, 10, 15, if they stayed 15 minutes, that was a long time. They didn't ever stay long, but I was glad to see them every time they come. It was like clockwork. I'd be like, I wonder where they at, man. It's way past time. So that's how I got started, and I just kept playing and still playing. I ain't the best drummer in the world. I know what I am. Some people ain't no good, and they tell people they can play good, and they can't. Well, I'm not that person. I'm just a so-so drummer that can halfway keep a beat, and that's me. There's several things that I can't do. eBay. I got 2 things coming from Top Hatter that I ain't got yet, and I ain't got them. But anyway, that's how I got started playing music. First off with Jerome and Steve Dawkins, and then we got old Stan and Roger actually playing. You know, with Steve, and he showed me how, but I ain't never. Steve was a drummer too, so I couldn't have never played with Steve because he was a drum. Well, he actually in one of his bands wanted to add an extra drummer. You know, several bands done that. I think Guess Who done it once. They 2 or 3 bands actually done 2 drummers, and he wanted to try it, and it didn't work out that good. So anyway, that's how I got started, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Have a good day, y'all. Keep making music, Alabama. Check all these tabs up too. Check them all out.